Hey everybody, today I'm at the Brevard Zoo for the Bonsai Society of Brevard annual bonsai show. So I'm going to go through the exhibit one tree at a time, and we're starting with a Fukian tea in a weeping style and a very beautiful scroll, and then the accent plant is actually a miniature Fukian tea, so that's kind of cool. Very, very nice composition. Next we have a Percularium decarii, which is also called elephant tree. And you can see why they're called elephant tree because the bark becomes incredibly fissured, and it's also gray, much like an elephant tree. And this is another composition where the accent plant is the same thing. So this is just a little cutting, little baby elephant tree, and then the main tree there. Next we have a Brazilian rain tree, which actually won Best Large Tree. And you can see it's exfoliating the bark, really beautiful canopy branching, and this one won Best Large Tree. This tree here is a Rhytii religiosa, also called water jasmine. Quite an old tree with decent branching. For me, the top is a little bit too flat, but still a very, very nice tree. Next we have a Chinese elm. Another very nice tree, great movement, great branching. And the accent plant is a little succulent. I have some of this stuff at home actually. It's a Chinese elm, really pretty tree. Next we have a Premna in a very interesting display in a crescent pot with the dragon on the top of the pot. And the tree is, I guess you'd call it a semi-cascade. That's a pretty old tree. Premna has leaf reduction that is just so amazing that you can get the leaves down to just tiny, tiny. These leaves are reduced pretty well. Pretty nice tree. Next we have a very, very interesting display. Homemade stand, which has 4 trees and an accent, and just a very, very interesting ensemble. So starting with this little guy here, this is a Kingsville boxwood, kind of more of an accent. And then this is a Lysoloma, which is also sometimes called false tamarind. And then another Chinese elm, and then a very old Schilling's holly, which I am sure is urban Yamadori, dug out of the landscape at some point in its life. And the pads on this one are a little bit too flat for me, but still a very interesting ensemble. And the whole composition is really quite stunning. Okay. And then we have our outside area where we're going to have a demo where someone's going to be working on that buttonwood there later today. So then we have, next one we have is a Podocarpus. This is also collected probably out of a hedge, out of somebody's yard, urban Yamadori. The trunk is absolutely massive. There's my hand. I guess this tree is probably 30 to 40 years old in the ground, and then styled for another 10 years at least. Beautiful movement. A bunch of dead wood here. Very nice composition. And this is the wild Podocarpus. There are some other dwarf forms, but this one has the very long leaves. So this is just your basic Podocarpus. Beautiful tree though. This is a very whimsical ensemble. It's called the Monsters Cloud Forest. And the trees are Ficus nerifolia. And it's just cool. I figured if every child that came to the zoo voted for this tree, it would be best in show. And as you can see, we have all kind of little monsters in there. I don't know what that guy is. Some of you know, I'm sure. And a monster truck. And it's quite an interesting composition, to say the least. Next we have another Premna with a very curved trunk, but a very nice composition. And I'm not sure what the red rocks are doing under there, but the tree is a very nice tree. Remember, part of the voting on this was the best in show plus the most original. So our next tree is a Schilling's holly. This is another Yamadori, dug out of a hedge probably many years ago, and it's really got a beautiful canopy. And the little accent plant is a maidenhair fern. And we have another Brazilian rain tree with a very interesting trunk. Hasn't begun to exfoliate yet. And then another very interesting accent.
The hard part is getting it all organized.
This is a Nia buxifolia, native to the Caribbean islands. Pedro Morales in Puerto Rico was the person that really introduced it to bonsai. And this is a pretty interesting tree. They get thick trunks very, very slowly. So this is a pretty decent aged tree. Once again, kind of an informal upright. Nicely done. This is a very interesting little thing. It's actually a train. There's a train under there. And then we have, this is firebush and a Premna, and I guess another little firebush. So very interesting little composition. This tree is in Texas ebony. I was reading the thing. And since I'm explaining it to you, we don't really need to see the name tags. This is Texas ebony, grown as a bunjin. Real pretty tree, nice movement, really nice thick trunk, but nicely done, nice canopy in the bunjin style. This is a very interesting display where it depicts someone holding the tree and then trimming it. And the tree itself is a Rhytii religiosa, which is commonly called water jasmine. And it's interesting because water jasmine typically flowers about April, at least down here where I live. But a number of trees in this display are still producing flowers, and there's a couple of little tiny buds just beginning right there on this one. And behind me, and we'll get to it, there's another one that's flowering like crazy. Yet here it is, the middle of August. And then we have a beautiful Nia. This tree is very, very old, and obviously dug. And I believe this is from Puerto Rico. Huge trunk, about 4 or 5 inches across, but absolutely stunning. Your perfect Japanese style. And then dwarf mondo grass as the accent. And this is a table for trees in training, so they're not really ready to be displayed, but they're on their way. And we have numerous trees in here. This is a tiger bark retusa and a Oh man,
It's on as a
I
companion.
can't remember what it is. Desert rose.
It's probably still in the box.
And this
Probably
is
didn't
a,
use it.
Taiwan boxwood. And this is a very interesting one, Thrialis. So very interesting tree. And continuing on, this is a dwarf red ixora. Unfortunately, it has no flowers. And a little bromeliad as the accent. Dwarf red ixora is really not considered, classic bonsai, but I've seen some really nice trees, and when they're in bloom, they're absolutely gorgeous.
Good morning.
This is my contribution. A narrow leaf ficus, about 20 years old, with a huge nabari. And I've been growing this tree from scratch for about 20 years. And then right next to it, we have another narrow leaf ficus, but a totally different way of styling it. Way more open, way more feminine. And it is owned by a girl, so. But she's quite a nice artist. She has some nice trees. This is another Premna. And the lady that owns this Premna also owns the ficus. And she has some trees that are so deep green. And I asked her what she was fertilizing with. And she said the organic cakes. She was going to actually show me. I have trouble with organic cakes in my collection because the raccoons eat them. Even if you put them in a little plastic jobby and you close it down, they will rip that thing apart and eat organic fertilizer. This is a kusumono, which is a Japanese flower design. Very, very beautiful. And the title of this one is Hot Fun in the Summertime, with another little scroll. And then we have our little accent plant, which is, and then we have a viewing stone. And then another Portulacaria afra. This is a pretty large tree, about 14, 16 inches high, in a nice oval pot. And then we have I think this is just an accent dwarf crown of thorns, and then a very beautiful black pine. And black pines will grow in Florida. I've never really tried it because it's just, I don't know, I'm just chicken. Okay, so now we need to walk to the other wall over here. And we've got a bunch of people setting up and John, so sorry about the background noise. I told them to shut up, but a lot of good that did. This is actually a tanuki. The deadwood that you see off to the right is a buttonwood, and then the tree is a dwarf scheffalera. But an interesting design. And then this is a Penjing grove of juniper, and the one has died, and the guy that owns it named it Fallen Warrior for the guy that has died. I might have removed all the foliage from the guy that has died and turned the whole thing into gin, but it's an interesting composition, no doubt. Next, we have a Cascade Green Island ficus. And Green Island ficus are considered a true dwarf, where they just never get more than about 3 or 4 feet high, but they will run along the ground 10 or 12 feet. So they make very easy cascade because a lot of the growth is already growing horizontally. And this is a very interesting accent. And this guy here is a native salvia that has beautiful red flowers that's pretty much gone to seed now. And here is the one that won Best Medium Tree, which is another Brazilian rain tree. Very nicely done. And I guess the accent is dwarf jade. This is a pretty old little tree. I have a lot of Mame and Shohin dwarf jade. I just love them. And this is a pretty old tree. I have quite a few old trees myself. And then we have an entire group of Kusamono, which is, they're just very beautiful. The lady that does this, she's really into it. So this is like a whole entire separate thing from bonsai, but they can be some really beautiful compositions. And here's another interesting display. If we pan back, we have the castle in the back on the picture. And then the caption says, "Even miracles take a little time." And then this is a Cinderella theme. Oh, and here's the I can't remember the name. My Alzheimer's is catching up to me. Rhydia religiosa. And see, it's flowering like crazy, just all over the place. But if you notice, this is a
Yeah, he did that at my Ficus Festival a couple of years ago, and then I supplemented it in the back a little bit because this changed the whole front when he did it.
and you'll notice that the pot is looks like a little pumpkin, and then down here is a glass slipper. And next we have a Bunjin Portulacaria jade, which is another very interesting composition, and a cactus as the accent. And then last but not least, we have another Shohin jade with another little cactus as the accent. So there you go. There's the Bonsai Society of Brevard annual zoo show. A lot of really cool trees. And it's usually the third weekend in August. So, thank you so much for watching.